at inside Michael's 8th Avenue. It is hot. The fans are ready. We hope you are ready. It's time for Ballroom Boxing. Hi again, everybody. I'm Larry Michael. Great to be back with my partner, Jon Saraceno, our first Ballroom Boxing show of 2003. We're going to see a little bit of everything tonight. Pro debut for several fighters and a good main event, top to bottom, Jon. Maybe our best card ever.
We've been doing this for a long time now. This is our 48th show. Got a lot of interesting storylines, and Larry, let's talk about one of them.
Main event, Luis Collazo against Marcos Primera. Primera has been on the national stage before, but has lost. And really, you look at Collazo, 18-1, Jon, just 21 years old. This kid could be a star of the future.
Well, the great thing about Collazo is he stayed active, unlike Primera, who's been fairly mismanaged throughout his career. Collazo is a guy 21 years old, Larry, already has 19 professional fights.
Anything can happen in the ballroom. We are happy to be back. Coming up, our first fight of the night. This is Ballroom Boxing. Ballroom Boxing is brought to you by Toyota, by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. By Michael's 8th Avenue, a host of grand occasions. And by BallroomBoxing.com for the latest in ballroom boxing action and upcoming live events and merchandise and season tickets. We're in the ballroom, Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. We have a fight in the ring right now, an interesting matchup. Two veterans, Sam Reese and Darrin Whitley. Both men have won in the ballroom before. Both men have lost in the ballroom before. This is what we call the consummate competitive matchup. Let's hear from Jon Scheinman on this one. Jon?
Larry, I love a fight like this because you don't have to tout the guys in any particular way. Oh, this guy had a great amateur championship, amateur background and so on, and he's, matched up with a great promoter. It's just two lunch bucket, backbone guys in the sport of boxing. They're not really named guys, but they're the guys who make all the dances. They fight all the fights. Both have losing records. Well, Reese is 6-6, but they're perfectly matched here. They're not the opponents here. They both have an opportunity to take a fight and put a win in their record books, which will make them more marketable for another bigger fight down the road. I expect an extremely competitive, even bout here, and I think the fans in the ballroom who've seen these guys know they both have skills. I think we got a good fight.
All right, this fight is scheduled for 6 rounds tonight in the ballroom. Let's hear from Pat O'Malley.
It's time now for more Ballroom Boxing. The Maryland State Athletic Commission, Chairman Carl M. Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Spinella, and Secretary of the Maryland Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation, James D. Fielder Jr., along with matchmakers Scott and Michael Wagner, promoters make that, and matchmakers Chris Middendorf and Josh Hall, and Director of Boxing Operations Dave Wilkerson present the 6-round bout in the Cruiserweight division. Your referee in charge is Kenny Chevalier. The judges are Gary Campaneschi, John Gradowski, and Don Richer. Your scorekeeper is Bill Holmes. Introducing the boxers. First to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the black and gold trunks, weighing 173 1/4 pounds. He comes to us from Holyoke, Massachusetts, with a record of 13, 19, and 5, 4 knockouts. Please welcome Darrin, Double Impact Whitley. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with red trim, weighing 174 pounds. He is from Newport News, Virginia. His record, 6-3, 3 via the KO. Please welcome Sam Fist of Fury Reese.
This is a tight matchup. I mentioned both men have won and lost here. For Sam Reese, the last time he fought at the ballroom was our last ballroom boxing card in November of last year, 2002. And he won the unanimous decision victory over John Rosado, but lost to John Vargas earlier last year. Darrin Whitley of the Fighting Whitley family. We've seen Darrin, we've seen Derek, both do battle here. Last time out, Barry Butler took care of Darrin Whitley.
And we're going to go to the matchups. Darrin Whitley and Sam Reese. You see the linear fight reach in Reese's advantage. rather significant. Let's see how it plays out, Larry.
This fight is underway. Fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. These men are light heavyweights. I want to welcome those watching coast to coast and around the world on American Forces TV. Those of you in harm's way, of course, we appreciate all you do for our country. We hope you a safe return home.
And soon.
Now, Scott Wagner, the promoter here, along with Mike Wagner at Michael's 8th Avenue. Scott especially likes to give us a little write-up on each fight. And his opening line is just what it's all about. This is what it's all about. Not flashy, but a good, solid match between 2 guys that have fought everyone. And that is the truth. Sam,
there's no question about that.
Sam Reese, the southpaw. And I don't know. It could be Derek Whitley in there. It could be Darrin Whitley.
I was going to ask you,
how do you know?
How do we know the difference?
I don't know. The records are different. I know that.
Whitley, they both stay very busy. Whitley fought 5 times last year. And here is January in 2003, and he's fighting again.
Holyoke, Massachusetts. Up there near Springfield. They make the drive down for a chance for a victory in the ballroom. Whitley in the black trunks with the gold trim, says Whitley right across the back. There you see the back of Sam Reese. Black trunks with red trim.
This is going to be a chess match here tonight, Larry, and probably a good chance for us to see our chandelier cam from up above at some point. We expect these fighters to be in the center of the ring much of the night.
See right now, Whitley just following Sam Reese around on the end of Sam Reese's jab. Nice right hand counter by Whitley. Nice combination by Sam Reese.
Sam looks very good here, very sharp early on in the first round.
Last time out for Sam Reese, he lost up in Atlantic City. 8-round decision to Luis Azil. Azil with a record of 17-1-2 coming in. So Sam Reese in tough against Azil and comes home with a loss.
Well, Whitley is beating, Reese is beating Whitley to the punch here early and using just enough lateral movement where Whitley can't set down on his punches and catch him very cleanly.
Reese doing a real good job keeping busy with his fists. And Whitley trying to find that opening.
He's also caught Whitley a couple times downstairs. You see, Reese not much of a puncher, neither's Whitley, frankly, but they're going to be boxing each other's faces off all evening long.
Settle in for this one, folks. It'll be a tactical battle for sure. Whitley and Reese, round 2 is next. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. This is Ballroom Boxing number 48. And stay tuned in the coming months. Ballroom Boxing 49 and 50. What will we do for our 50th show ever in the Ballroom Boxing series, John? What do you have in store for that 50th fight?
Well, it's got to be something big. That's our anniversary show. 9 years.
Wow.
Ballroom Boxing, and that should take place sometime in the spring. So we're looking forward to it. We'll have some surprises for everyone.
We will. We will definitely have some surprises. And to find out more about Ballroom Boxing, you can check us out on our new website, ballroomboxing.com.
Have you seen it?
I have.
It's really sharp.
And guys who I've turned on to the website, particularly happy with the section on the ring card girls. For some reason, John.
I don't know why.
I do.
I know we're not getting a lot of hits.
No, that's for sure. Hey, if a guy had a chance to log on and see us or see the ring card girls, what do you think they'd pick? Good left hand by Darrin Whitley. Sneaks that in. Sam Reese dropped that right.
Well, Sam Reese, as you mentioned earlier, very busy in that first round. Took it to Whitley. Used his boxing skills to, I think, clearly win the first round.
Whitley beginning to step it up a little bit, though, and march forward. And unless Reese is ready for lateral movement the entire night, this could tighten up considerably here.
Sam Reese actually the youngster in this fight at 32. Darrin Whitley 34.
Not a lot of punching power in the ring, just 3 knockouts for Reese, 4 KOs for Whitley.
Well, Whitley's got to find a way to cut off the ring. He's doing a better job of it this round. We expect Whitley to throw a a lot of lead right hands that you want to use against the southpaw.
Oh, nice combination by Reese as he retreated, John. That was slick.
Well, Whitley smart enough to know, too, you can't totally abandon the jab when you're fighting an unorthodox style fighter like Reese. So he's continuing to jab his way in.
Good body shot there by Whitley.
Well, this is the kind of fight where if you're a judge, you can't afford, not that they would anyway, to miss anything.
One punch could mean the round for either man.
Remember, it's scoring blows, not just punches thrown.
Whitley has a real tight defense, has his hands held high. Now he brings him down. He's trying to draw Reese in. Reese showing some good hand speed here in this round.
Well, we've seen Whitley have these kind of fights before. He's used to sticking with his man and trying to wear him down with a volume of punches, if not the power.
Uppercut missed there. Reese stepping on the foot of Whitley and connecting with the left hand as round two comes to a close. We'll have more for the ballroom in a moment. There you see the overhead fixed camera here in the ballroom, the newest innovation of our technical and production guru, Rudy Childs. There it is. That's a heck of a shot, especially if we get a knockout sometime tonight. Let's check in with Jon Scheinman for his scorecard after 2 rounds. John.
Larry, 2 rounds to none, 20-18, Sam Reese. Boy, he's working that jab beautifully. The right hand, when he really sticks it with authority, there's nothing Whitley can do to get inside. The only time Whitley's had any effective moments is when Reese has chosen to paw with the jab, looking to set up the straight left. Then Whitley steps inside and bangs to the body. But as long as Reese hits with authority with that jab, he looks like he could just rule this fight all night.
Yeah, he hits Whitley 2-3 punches at a time before Whitley's able to fire back. Just piling up the points here early on.
He's pot shotting Whitley, then running, basically, but he's moving nicely, and he's keeping his hand busy. So
great strategy.
I'm not saying running in a derogatory fashion. I should just say moving nicely away from any offense that Whitley might bring. And Whitley's left eye showing a little bit of swelling right now. And the question, I guess, John, is can Sam Reese keep up the side-to-side lateral movement the entire fight? Haven't even reached the midway point, 32 years old.
Well, I think he can. I think both these guys can move like this. They're in very good shape. And they've trained for this type of a fight. They knew this was going to be a distance fight.
Good body shot by Whitley. Whitley beginning to bring it a little bit here, Johnny. He did this towards the end of the first round, moving forward, but throwing punches on his way in. There's a good ripping body shot by Whitley.
Well, that'll slow.
He's slowing Reese down right now. The body work very effective for Darrin Whitley.
And that'll do it to you. And you see Reese dropping his elbows a little bit to protect that midsection area. This is a chess match all the way here in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
You said it would be. So we approach the midway point in this fight. And right now, Darrin Whitley closing the distance, and Sam Reese not moving side to side as much as he was earlier in the first 2 rounds, John.
Well, this is Whitley's big round and a way to get back in this fight. He didn't want to go down 3 rounds to none.
I'm telling you right now, Sam Reese anxious for that bell to ring. Really showing some signs right now of fatigue, and the body work by Whitley has begun to sap the energy from Reese somewhat.
And you see Reese's punches not having the same authority as they did in the first 6 minutes of this fight. A little bit of steam gone.
Round 3 coming to a close. We're approaching the midway point in this 6th rounder. More ballroom boxing coming up. Don't go away. All right, we've reached the midway point in this fight. And Jon Saraceno, before we hear from Scheinman, how do you have it scored?
I've got Reese ahead 2 rounds to 1 with Whitley coming back in that 3rd round.
Scheinman, what do you think? Midway through this fight, it looked like Whitley's body attack took some of the starch out of Reese in round 3. What do you think?
Well, although I'm loath to agree with Jon Saraceno, 29-28, Reese, 2 rounds to 1. Wasn't that amazing the way Reese just looked completely gassed in the 3rd round? I don't know what happened to him, but we saw the trademark of the double impact family, Darrin and Derek Whitley. This guy, when they get down, they just go to the body with a vengeance. They've got the real heart of a lion, and he showed it there. And I think he looked like he just took control of the fight.
I agree with you. We're agreeing way too much here tonight. Something must be wrong. I don't know.
Bad start to the new year.
I'm Larry Michael, along with Jon Saraceno. Jon Scheinman, as always, the 3rd member of our crew. In the ring right now, Darrin Whitley out of Holyoke, Massachusetts. In the black trunks with a gold trim, going against Sam Reese. And the black and red, Reese out of Hampton, Virginia. And Whitley continuing to bring a little heat. And the body attack was the difference maker in round 3 for Whitley.
One reason why Darrin Whitley is always usually competitive in fights, I should say, is that he fights so often. Fought 5 times last year, 5 times in 2001, 7 times in 2000. Turned pro in 95. This is his 38th fight. So staying busy, a good lesson for all fighters.
And he's trained by his dad. It's a very tight-knit group, the Whitleys. And they're good guys. I mean, they are real. You call them journeymen, but you know this is what they love.
We've never seen them be less than professional on the Ballroom Boxing Series, and they fought here many, many times.
So Whitley continues to move forward, and Reese's side-to-side movement has abandoned him. So right now, you wonder what's going to happen the last 2 rounds as this fight gets tighter.
All right. Whitley is coming on here. And Reese not nearly as effective with his offense as he was in the first 6 minutes. His punches are coming a little bit slower and fewer.
Reese holding on to Whitley somewhat here in round 4.
Reese has a kind of a disgusted look on his face. Not sure why, but does not look real pleased right now.
Tell you what, that body attack of Darrin Whitley is why.
I got a funny feeling you're onto something there. That changed the fight in the 3rd round.
And you can see Reese just leaning on the back of Whitley. Another good round for Darrin Whitley as he turns the tide. It makes this an even fight with 6 minutes to go in the Ballroom in Glen Burnie, Maryland. More to come. Welcome back to the Ballroom. Round 5 underway here tonight, and a lot of buzz in the air. The governor of the state of Maryland, Bob Ehrlich, is here tonight, a big fan of ballroom boxing, and we're going to talk to the governor a little bit later. In the ring right now, Darrin Whitley and Sam Reese. 6 minutes to go in a very tight fight, an even fight. Whitley has made it that way over the last 2 rounds, John.
He's really rebounded after Reese had his way with him the first 2 rounds in the fight, just piling up the points with his boxing, in and out, side to side, combination punching. But the body punching by Darrin Whitley in the 3rd round has really turned the complexion of the fight, and he's in this fight. I have it even after 4.
Check in with Jon Scheinman quickly for the scorecard with 2 rounds to go. John, what do you think?
Agreed, 38-38 on my scorecard unofficially, but Reese seems to have shown a little rejuvenation already here, and he's sticking that jab with a lot more authority than he did in the last 2 rounds. Maybe his corner lit a fire on him and told him, hey, you're letting this thing slip away.
Maybe, you know, the corner motivation has been the key to many fighters over the years.
A lot of things can motivate a fighter or an announcer. But
look at Whitley inside, doing good work on the inside. This is a classic inside-outside battle. Reese needs to be on the outside to be successful. And really, Whitley can't be successful on the outside. He must be on the inside.
The other thing about Whitley is even though he's not a heavy puncher, Larry, he keeps coming at you. He's always applying constant pressure. A good inside work there by Reese. Good counter punching.
That backhands don't count, though,
No,
John. That's not
illegal blow.
Yeah, that's just a sign of fatigue right there. And the warning from Kenny Chevalier. Tight round, you know. That dreaded D word, could it come into play here? Could this be so tight that we see a draw tonight in this one? We're going to find out. 3 minutes to go here in the Ballroom. All right, 3 minutes to go in this scheduled 6-round bout. Darrin, Whitley, and Sam Reese in a very tight fight. Jon Scheinman, who is leading going into the last round on your scorecard?
Well, I heard you guys in between rounds say you thought it was even, but I gave that round to Reese. I thought he did the best work, really got the jab reestablished again. It was very tight. It could go either way on the scorecards, but I've got Reese ahead 48-47 in the last round.
Well, there you go. There's Scheinman's card. I knew we'd start disagreeing. I thought Whitley took that round by being a little busier. And right now you see Reese, though, picking up the side-to-side movement. This was effective early for him, John.
And he's going to employ it now. It looks like he's got a second win. Whitley looked a little gassed that round. Reese kind of came on. That could have been Reese's round. If it is, Whitley's really got to fire hard and heavy in this round to try to get a draw out of it, possibly. As we thought, this fight, a chess match. Nobody has the power to register a checkmate, but it's been very competitive from the first round. Scheduled 6-rounder. This is the final round.
Oh, sharp right hand by Whitley. See, again, depends on what you like. I think Whitley is winning this round in my book. But, hey, I'm not an official judge here.
See Whitley breathing very heavily through his mouthpiece, mouth wide open.
Question here is who wants it more? I know that might be a cliche, but right now this is that tight. Final 30 seconds of this fight might make the difference.
Well, you know how competitive both Whitleys are.
Oh, nice left hand by Sam Reese.
Straight right left.
Come on, let's go. Let him go.
This is one of those fights that whoever loses the fight is going to be very unhappy unless it's a draw, I think, because it has been that close. I think you'd almost have to give the edge to Sam Reese.
I don't know, I disagree. I guess that's why they have fights, right?
It's a close fight, though. I mean, around here, around there.
The only thing we can agree on, the fight changed complexion in round 3 when Whitley went to the body. Reese has weathered it nicely over the last couple of rounds. Neither man has been down. Neither man has really been hurt in this fight. Corner of Reese telling him to get on his toes, but you know what? His legs are gone right now. He's put a lot into this fight. Misses the uppercut by a whisker. This fight's going to go the distance. Whitley and Reese go the full 6 rounds here in the ballroom. We said it would be competitive. We said that might go the distance, and it did.
Well, that's a quintessential ballroom boxing fight. Very competitive on paper going in, and that's the way it turned out.
We're going to see who won this fight when we return. More ballroom boxing coming up in a moment. Well, the fight goes the distance. Reese and Whitley very, very tight. So I'm not going to ask Saraceno or Scheinman who won. We're going to go to Pat O'Malley and find out who really won the fight.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards. Judge Gary Campanesi scores it 59-55, Sam Reese. Judge John Gradowski scores it 57-57. And Judge Don Risher scores it 57-57. We have a majority draw.
Majority draw. And who was it who said somewhere in the 5th round that maybe we were headed towards a draw, Jon Saraceno?
Was it me or you?
It was me, come on. But you know what? You can see the smile on Sam Reese. I don't think anybody can be disappointed with that decision. It was that close.
It was that close. I had Sam Reese winning the fight by a point, but let's do it again.
Well, it was a hard-fought fight. It went the distance, and it was a draw. Reese and Whitley to a draw. They both are standing by with Jon Scheinman. John?
Well, we've got a draw here, but these guys seem to get along pretty good, so that's okay. Sam, you started the fight off tremendously, working your right jab, but it seemed that Darrin got back into the fight. How grueling was this battle?
Darrin is one tough fighter. I got to give it to him. He is strong as I don't know what, and he's persistent. He's constantly in your face, regardless of what I hit him with. He kept coming. He's a brawler.
Now, you're coming off a fight in Atlantic City before this one where you fought a guy who was 17-1. This seemed like it might be a good chance for you to get over the hump of 500. How important was this fight to you coming in?
This fight was very important to me because definitely I knew I had my hands full tonight, and I tried to give it the best performance I possibly could. But like I say, Darrin's a true warrior. I hit him with everything I had, and he was just constantly right there in my face. He kept coming. He's a warrior.
Well, let's move over to Darrin Whitley here a second. Boy, it seemed like Sam Reese really started you off good. He was slinging you with that right jab. He really had you confused with a lot of lateral movement. But you got back into the fight with the Whitley trademark.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I knew Sam for a long time. We watched each other fight back to back. And like I said, he got a hell of a jab. He's a good boxer. I mean, I've been working on my game plan trying to box. But my last 2 fights, I kicked butt, and I figured it doesn't matter who it is. So I said, he's my boy, but in the back of the room, I had to act like he ain't my boy so I could get past this.
Classic ballroom boxing matchup. Would you want to do this again with Sam?
Well, most definitely, but so we could get the win out of each, whoever gets the win. But like I said, he's a strong, tremendous fighter, and he's the same way I am. We both got the attitude to come to fight when it comes to fight.
Quickly, Sam Reese, do you do it again?
Yes, sir, I definitely do it again.
Well, we'll see if we can get Scott Wagner and matchmaker Chris Mittendorf to put this together again, because this is the kind of classic fight we see in the ballroom. Let's go back to ringside to Larry and John.
Well, you know, they say a tie is like kissing your sister. These guys would like to do it again and settle the score. More ballroom boxing coming up in a moment. Don't go away. Time for a couple of heavyweights to square off in the ballroom boxing ring. Robert Anderson and unbeaten Jed Phipps. Jon Scheinman in the ring with a look at this battle.
Larry, this is a real local rumble. 2 Baltimore guys bucking heads here in the heavyweight division. Jed Phipps has turned into a tremendous ticket seller in the area, and he's been moved along carefully, and now maybe wading into tougher waters. He's 4-0. Robert Anderson at the weigh-in last night, as he was getting his medicals done, his manager, Mac Lewis, who's one of the legends of boxing in this area, just sat behind him and talked about, I grew this guy from the start. I built him from scratch. He's been with me from the beginning. He was really trying to motivate Anderson that he's got a big shot against Phipps in this fight. I think we could have some real fireworks from the heavyweights here.
Well, I hope so. Phipps has an unbeaten record. He's an exciting young fighter, has a long, storied amateur career, and he's right in his backyard. It's going to be real tough for Robert Anderson to take Phipps out. Let's get this party started, as always, with Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now for more ballroom boxing. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carl M. Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Pinella, and James D. Fielder Jr., the Secretary of the Maryland Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation. Promoters Scott and Michael Wagner, and matchmakers Chris Mittendorf and Josh Hall, and Director of Boxing Operations Dave Wilkerson present this 4-round bout in the heavyweight division. Your referee in charge is John Gradowski. Judging the bout at ringside, Bill Holmes, Don Risher, and Malik Waleed. The scorekeeper is Gary Campaneschi. Introducing the boxers. First to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the trunks red with white trim, weighing 232.5 pounds. He hails from Baltimore, Maryland, with a record of 4-2-1, 1 KO. Please welcome Robert, the Big Dog Anderson. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the silver trunks with black trim. He weighs 222 pounds. From Baltimore, Maryland. His record, 4-0, 2 via the KO. Please welcome Jed Phipps.
Jed Phipps certainly the favorite of the crowd here tonight, but in Robert Anderson, he is facing his toughest opponent to date. Anderson has fought 2 tough fighters, Malik Scott and Tony the Tiger Thompson, in his last 2 fights, coming off a 2-fight losing streak. John Gradowski is the referee. Jon Saraceno with a look at the matchup.
Well, 2 fairly big heavyweights here in the ballroom. Biggest advantage for Jed Phipps, though, may be that age. Only 25 years old. Robert Anderson, 34. Let's see if he can sustain the attack from heavy-handed Jed Phipps.
Robert Anderson has not fought since May of 2001. Took a little time off after those back-to-back losses, and he has renewed his dedication to the sport.
But that's almost a 2-year layoff. That's a long time, particularly for a heavyweight. See if he has his timing down. You mentioned Anderson's only 2 losses to Tony Thompson and Malik Scott. They were combined 34-1.
Tony Thompson, one of the fine young heavyweights out there. He's really made his mark in the heavyweight division over the last 12 months. So Robert Anderson like to pull the upset here tonight over Jed Phipps. Phipps has that great amateur career, as we talked about. Good body shot by Anderson, catching Phipps on the way back. This heavyweight battle scheduled for 4 rounds tonight. Ooh, big left hand by Anderson. Scores on the chin of Phipps, and another left hand by Anderson.
Well, let's see if that shook the cobwebs loose on young Jed Phipps. He's got to get that jab going. We mentioned his power. A lot of times that can bite a young fighter on the backside. He starts relying on getting guys out quickly.
Big left hand again by Anderson. And you see what Anderson is doing. He's leaning to his left when he's getting ready to throw that shot. I mean, Phipps can see it in the ring. And he's kind of lulling Phipps into that opening. Phipps getting a little upset here now and going to the body. Question is, will Jed Phipps fall for that move again? He's fallen for it twice here in round 1. And both times the left hand crunched off the side of his face. See some real redness on the right side of Phipps's face. That's from those left hands by Anderson.
Big Dog showing he's got some bite here in the first round, despite that long layoff. Phipps is the one looking.
Oh, the right hand, and down goes Anderson. Man, that was a powerful shot.
What a thud. Anderson's not going to get up, I don't think, and if he does, I don't know if he can continue.
He gets up after the count of 9. He was waiting for the count to get to 9. And he pushes the referee, John Gradowski.
Well, that's going to be a suspension at some point. You can understand why Anderson's so upset. He was waiting to get up, as fighters do. And they better watch it, because right now Anderson is a lit fuse. They better have somebody over there.
Well, the corner of Anderson should come in. And Anderson is threatening the referee, John Gradowski.
Yeah, that is a bad move.
And now he's threatening the doctor and the officials in the corner.
And here come the security into the ring, really to protect Anderson from himself. Robert Anderson is very angry right now. We understand why. In my opinion, that's a questionable stoppage, but you got to get in there to have protection, mostly from himself.
Anderson is really doing the wrong thing here. Yes, he's disappointed, but there's no reason to act this way against the officials here.
Well, it's unprofessional, and he hasn't been in the ring very much lately, and it's showing. Anderson bitterly disappointed, but what a shot Jed Phipps landed. You could just hear the thud when Anderson hit the canvas, practically face first. We're going to see a replay here coming up at some point as we see security.
Anderson's trying to get out of the ring. The replay of how this ended, it was the right hand by Phipps, and he caught him going down again. And I think it was just a miscalculation by Anderson. I've seen that happen before. He lost track of the count. Gradowski did the right thing. And Phipps's actions right now.
I thought Anderson was out cold when he hit Larry. I was shocked that he even got up. I think he got to one knee and then was waiting, apparently, for the referee Gradowski to get to a later count. And he got up and beat the count. Gradowski waved off the fight.
There's Anderson, can't believe it, but he did the unconscionable. He put his hands on the referee. And from our overhead fixed cam, we're going to have a chance to see how this fight ended. And here you go, watch the right hand of Phipps.
Delayed reaction. Yeah, it was a delayed reaction.
Three-punch combination. He falls beautifully outside of the Ballroom Boxing logo.
I thought he was going to fall through the canvas.
And Anderson is still upset.
Yeah, well, he's going to get, my guess, a suspension from the Maryland State Athletic Commission that will be will serve for a national suspension, you got to believe.
Let's go to Pat O'Malley for the official time of the knockout. Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by knockout at 2:34 of round 1, Jed Phipps.
So Jed Phipps gets the win, somewhat tainted by the actions of Anderson. It was a good, strong punch.
I wouldn't even say it is tainted. You know what? The referee's job, Larry, is to protect the fighters at all time. And Jon Gradowski's view, Anderson was hurt, and he did get up late. He beat the count, but the referee thought he wasn't able to continue, and that's the way it goes in boxing.
There you see Phipps talking to Jon Scheinman, trying to tell him what's going on. You know what? While Jon's there, let's get the comments. Let's go to Jon Scheinman with Jed Phipps.
Jed, well, Robert Anderson started this bout really well. He landed some big left hooks on you earlier, but you told me right before the interview started that you wanted to be hit. Tell me what you're talking about.
No, by accident. I mentally have never been hit in a fight. I've been hit sparring. I've been hit in the gym, but it's a lot different out here. So there's a big guy. You know, he's got 2 knockouts. I want to see what it felt like because, you know, I'm getting ready to go into 6-rounders eventually, and I'm going to get caught, you know, and I walk right through it.
Well, 2:34 into the round, you landed a powerhouse straight right hand that just sent him right down face first. Were you surprised that he got up at all?
No, because all I did was pivot and twist, and that was it. I knew. Not too many people can get up from that, so I don't know why he's complaining.
He went ballistic. You're right. After the fight, he was calling the bout a fix, which clearly it wasn't so. Do you get a little disturbed when someone like shows up a victory of yours like that?
You know, he said it wasn't so much a knockdown. He's yelling at the ref saying he got up on 8, which I heard 8 and he was still on his knee. So,
is this the kind of fight where you'd want to give Robert Anderson a rematch, or do you just move on to bigger and better things now?
I'll fight him tomorrow.
Well, if we can get Scott Wagner and Chris Middendorf to do it, if we can set it up tomorrow. Let's go back to ringside and Larry and Jon.
All right, that's the way it ends. Jed Phipps victorious with a crunchy knockout. And here is how it ended. The right hand of Jed Phipps doing the damage. And Anderson did not beat the count. We're going to try to get some replays. I want to see if we can get a replay of him pushing Jon Gradowski as well, but that's to come in a few moments. It is Jed Phipps remaining unbeaten in the ballroom with the first round knockout of Robert Anderson. We'll have more ballroom boxing from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland when we return. Don't go away. We're back in the ballroom. Ian Gardner makes the trip to the ballroom to take on James McAllister. McAllister on a 3-fight winning streak. Jon Scheinman with a look at this battle.
Well, definitely, Larry. James McAllister, since back-to-back losses in 2001, really stepped it up in class last year. Instead of putting easy wins under his belt, he continued to fight tough opponents, and he won all 3 bouts. Now he comes into this tough 8-round bout against Ian Gardner, who would finish 2nd in the Olympic trials for a berth on the Canadian team, and he caught the eye of Goody Petronelli. Boxing fans know this name. He managed Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Gardner has since moved to the U.S., and he's pursuing his career. This is a big crossroads fight at an early stage of the career of both fighters. Should be a good one.
Yeah, it sure should, and we are ready. We hope you are ready. Pat O'Malley, as always, gets us started.
Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for more ballroom boxing. The Maryland State Athletic Commission, Chairman Carl M. Milligan, Jr., Executive Director Patrick Pinella, James D. Fielder, Jr., the Secretary of the Maryland Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation, Commissioners at ringside, Bill McCaffrey and Phil Feaster, along with promoters Scott and Mike Wagner, matchmakers Chris Middendorf and Josh Hall, and the Director of Boxing Operations, Dave Wilkerson, present this 8-round bout in the super middleweight division. Your referee in charge is Malik Waleed. Judging the bout at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, Bill Holmes, Don Risher, and the scorekeeper is Jon Gradowski, the timekeeper Tommy Canaris. Introducing the boxers, first to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the trunks in maroon and gold, he weighs 157 pounds. From Brockton, Massachusetts, via Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, he has a record of 7-1, 3 via the KO. Please welcome Ian, the Cobra Gardner. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the white and gold trunks. He weighs 161 3/4 pounds from Forestville, Maryland. His record, 8-2-1, 3 via the KO. Please welcome King James McAllister.
So it's King James McAllister and Ian Gardner in a very interesting matchup tonight in the ballroom.
I expect good, clean boxing. When I say break, you both got to stop punching, take a full step back, and remember, protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves. Good luck to you both.
Jon Saraceno, take a look at the matchup here.
Well, weight advantage for James McAllister. We'll have to see how that plays out. Gardner coming in at 157. But the Cobra, 10 years younger than James McAllister.
Boy, the Cobra doesn't have much fat on him, does he? McAllister's in great shape as well.
Poised to strike quickly.
Cobra, southpaw, now switches right. So you can already tell just 5 seconds into the fight that the Cobra, as he is known, Ian Gardner, has a rather slick style. Got to give Gardner credit. Coming down here right into the backyard of James McAllister.
Not a bad move by McAllister to go southpaw on a young fighter. I'm sure Gardner hasn't fought many left-handers. But being left-handed, he's got to know the tricks of that.
Big right hand there, looping right hand by James McAllister. Somewhat deflected by Gardner. That got Gardner's attention though, didn't it?
It did. It definitely did. He blinked.
Last time out for Ian Gardner was November of last year, 2002. He was victorious, a 3-round knockout over Michael Corleone.
Boy, you see the hand speed of Gardner. Very fast. McAllister not slow either.
Gardner a winner in his last 3 fights by knockout. And those are his only 3 knockouts with the 7 wins. So beginning to develop a little bit of power. Oh, the overhand right. The left hand, I should say, wobbles King James McAllister. That was a good shot.
That was Gardner's best punch here early in the first round. Get some respect back after he got clocked.
This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds tonight in the ballroom. We can see the quickness by Gardner.
It was a very interesting matchup between 2 very slick boxers.
Oh, down goes McAllister. The straight left hand by Gardner. And he missed him with a couple of punches, drew nothing but air, but kept on moving forward.
Hey, Gardner can apparently punch a little too.
Wow. Surprising power by Gardner there as he puts McAllister down with 1 punch. Gardner having problems with those trunks of his.
Oh, Gardner came across the ring screaming at McAllister. I don't know what good that's going to do, but not a good start for King James.
Unorthodox nature of Gardner's style giving McAllister some problems early here in the ballroom.
That was a legal shot right at the bell.
Big punch to end round 1. Let's check the corner of James McAllister.
You gonna be all balanced. You just dug a hole right there. Damn all that pretty stuff, man. Go to work. Forget the pretty stuff. Go to work.
McAllister tasted the canvas in round 1.
Get your hands up and start attacking them, all right?
Tasted the canvas in round 1, and here is how it happened. Watch the left hand of Gardner, the man on your right. Misses twice, misses 3 times. And I think those misses caused McAllister to feel he was out of harm's way.
Now, he was out of punching distance, but somehow the shot landed from Gardner. He's moving away with his hands down. Very dangerous.
Gardner having some problems with the trunks right now. And Malik Waleed taking care of business there.
Larry, didn't you used to have a lampshade that looked like Gardner's trunks?
That was my smoking jacket. Gardner's got that weird style. Look at him. His feints are just causing McAllister all kinds of problems.
Now Gardner's gone orthodox, right-handed. McAllister remaining left-handed.
And why would you turn around after having a very successful first round if you're Gardner?
I don't know, but he better stash the clowning here because he's in a serious fight with McAllister. Very brash, cocky young man, 21.
Getting to think a little bit here now, John, that he might have worked his way inside the brain of McAllister a little bit here.
Well, he's trying.
Well, he certainly put him down in round one. McAllister leaving himself open again. Good Gardner just standing there posing. Very unique style. Fans getting a little impatient with the style of Gardner.
Gardner's been well protected thus far in his young career. This is definitely a step up for him, fighting James McAllister.
And Gardner's style, you know, I'm not saying it's a carbon copy, but he's got a little bit of Prince Nassim Hamed in his game. Because there's a lot of flash, there's a lot of movement.
I hope he has very little.
He's got a lot of flash and movement, and he's very, very quick. And he tries to lull you into sleep and then put you to sleep.
He's unorthodox. Dangerous. Because you don't know when he's going to strike. His reflexes are that quick.
He is very quick.
McAllister showing him a lot of respect in this second round after getting knocked down in the first. McAllister's going to have to move inside a little bit, try to go to the body a little bit. This has turned into kind of a wild fight here early on.
Big, huge left hand twist the skull of McAllister. What keeps him up, John?
Nothing.
Oh,
The
now
answer
he
is
is
nothing.
down. Oh, Gardner doing a great job picking his opponent apart. Can McAllister get up?
I don't think so.
Now this fight is over.
Good stoppage by Malik Waleed, the referee, to save McAllister from really getting hurt badly.
Big, big shots.
Wow, I tell you what, you know, there used to be another fighter from up north that fought for Goody Petronelli. That had a shaved skull and was left-handed.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure Hagler moved and punched that well early in his career at 21.
Wow, impressive performance by Ian Gardner. And I mean, he really twisted the head with the first punch, and then the second punch after a while hammered home. So here's how this fight ended. Here is Gardner. There's that left hand, and boy, it just twisted his head back again. That's the same punch that kept him up. Actually, somehow McAllister was able to keep up after the first one of those landed, but the second one just finished the job.
You see how happy Gardner is. Transplanted Canadian, diamond in the rough, discovered by Goody Petronelli. Looks like he's got a bright future. Big win here at the Ballroom.
We'll be right back with more Ballroom Boxing. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Boy, a lot of talent there in the corner of Gardner. And that is a man to watch right there for the future. Another look at how this one ended. Gardner on your right in round two. McAllister, once again, that left hand square on the chin. Twisting the head of McAllister. And the end comes in round two. The official time now from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by knockout at 225 of round two, Ian the Cobra Gardner.
So the Cobra bites King James in the second round and finishes him off in very, very impressive fashion. And you know, Jon Saraceno, seen a lot of boxers here in the Ballroom, seen a lot of future champions. We've seen some past champions. Ian Gardner has a special style. He's got a lot of punching power. He's the man to watch.
I don't know who's going to want to fight him, particularly when he starts out southpaw. He's developing that power. He's getting bigger and better, and Goody Petronelli is going to help him.
All right, more coming up in the ballroom. Don't go away. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. A very impressive performance by Ian Gardner. The second round knockout of James McAllister. Jon Scheinman standing by with the winner in the ring. John?
Wow, Ian, absolutely tremendous. You blew out a guy who's become a real popular local star here in the Ballroom, James McAllister. Talk about your hand speed.
Well, yeah, I knew he was fast, but I know I'm a faster puncher, and I had more power than he did, because I watched his 5th fight. I know this was his 11th fight, so I knew he improved a little bit, but I know that he got knocked out, so I know he had a tickle on his chin, what my coach said, Goody Petronelli, and my promoter, Rich Capiello, told me that this guy, you have to just put the pressure on him, and that's what I did. I just did my job, and I knew I was going to knock him out between the 3rd and 5th round, but not in the 2nd. But I'm shocked, though. It was a good fight. I have to give him credit. He's fast. He hit me with a couple punches, but I did my job. I came out here and proved myself, and now I'm called the King Cobra, not Cobra anymore.
Boy, you talk as fast as you move. You got a lot of energy. You know, you scored the flash knockdown in the 1st round, and then our co-commentator, Jon Saraceno, was kind of surprised you switched up when you came out in the next round. Why was that part of your tactics?
Well, you know what? All my boxing history, I never switched up. But as you know, Goody Petronelli trained former world champion Marvin Hagler, and he switched up. So now Goody Petronelli is showing me how to switch up, and that's what I had to do. I was in the back room warming up, and I was switching up. I came out switching. That's my plan.
You start first 5 fights of your career, no knockouts. Now I think you have 4 straight. What's the difference?
It's just the experience, you know, and the confidence that my team gives me. You know, I don't mean to butt in, but
Goody Petronelli's been working with him, getting him to sit down on his punches. He's got a lot of power. He just had to sit down. He'll be knocking people out now.
Well, he's very excitable in the ring, but you're right. When he sits down, he's got whistling power. Ian Gardner, this is a guy to watch in the future for 2003. Let's hope we see him back in the ballroom. Let's go back to ringside.
Impressive performance by Ian Gardner. Good job, Jon Scheinman. We'll have more from the ballroom. Don't go away. It's my pleasure to have the governor and lieutenant governor of the state of Maryland, Bob Ehrlich, and Mike Steele with us in the ballroom. And it's ironic, gentlemen, first, Bob, you talked to you before the election, and since then, you have won, you've been inaugurated, and you got a lot of work ahead of you.
We do have a lot of work, but it seems as though since, well, I was going to say November 6th, but the election was a lot of work too. So our life has been broken down into phases, really. We had a 14-month campaign, a lot of work. Transition 8-9 weeks, a lot of work, and now we have the reins of government. So yesterday was a great day, but today was the first day of real work.
Mike, tell me about the euphoria of victory and then the reality that you got to go to work. I mean, because you know, you guys.
Yeah.
We count campaign as work too.
Exactly. I mean, the transition has been seamless. We've gone from campaign to transition to governance, and it really has been a seamless effort. We've had a lot of time to explore the opportunities and the work and all of that, and we've had fun. But we've also been mindful that, this is an opportunity for us to do something that's really big for Maryland. And so we hadn't really stopped and thought about, gee, gosh, I guess we need to take a break, or,
that's true. Right.
We just keep rolling right into it. And, we've got a great governor, and he's really kind of set a course for us that's exciting, it's fresh, and people are pumped up. I mean, we had 8,000 people at our inaugural balls last evening, and it's just historic. It's exciting, and people are ready to work, and that's the same kind of feeling we've had from the very beginning, just ready to work.
And we danced once.
We danced once, not together, but we did race.
Well, I tell you, I get a real good vibe from you guys, and Governor Ehrlich, a lot of Marylanders might be watching this telecast across the globe on American Forces Radio, and in fact, so close to the seat of power here in Washington, D.C., you're very close to the action, as it were. Got a lot of people overseas who are in harm's way right now.
Yeah.
Well, one of my last major votes in Congress was a war resolution. And you never vote lightly, obviously, but when you're dealing with our young men and women in harm's way, those votes, the life and death votes, are always the most difficult for any legislator, obviously. So casting that vote, I did not view it necessarily as a precursor to war. I did know, however, casting that vote, that this president is a serious president.
Right.
We are in a war. It's a non-traditional war, a war against terrorism. To the extent Iraq has played a part in it, it's fairly evident. And at some point, you're going to have to deal with the bullies of the world. Now, whether that means we're going to have war in the short term, I do not know. But we want to, on behalf of our administration, send greetings and prayers and thoughts to all of our young men and women around the world.
Absolutely.
Mike, your floor right now, same audience, because you know this series has grown so much over the years. It is fantastic that we're reaching such a huge audience.
Yeah.
A lot of folks out there happy with your victory. I'm sure. You got any words for him?
Well, you know, again, just our hearts go out to the men and women who are putting it all on the line for America and for their communities. We love you here at home. We want you home, but we understand that you are doing the work that's required and asked of you, and just know how much we appreciate it, how much we care for you, and how much we support what you're doing. And we want you home soon, but we understand that the work in hand is most important, and God bless you.
It's really how much we appreciate what you're doing as
No
well.
question, we all do. It's the dynamic duo from the state of Maryland.
I like that.
Governor Bob Ehrlich and Lieutenant Governor Mike Steele. You know what? You know, you guys come into this ballroom and the place lit up. There's all kinds of a buzz in here.
We got a lot of votes here.
But I wonder how many governors of their states would venture out to see the people as you do on your second day on the, really your first day on the job.
First day on the job.
Yesterday you were inaugurated, and today you're in the ballroom with the folks here who are just having a great time. I commend you for coming tonight, guys.
Well, don't commend us. This is fun for us. We're both fight fans.
Yep.
I'm an athlete. He's a fencer.
Well,
he's a fencer.
It's a big controversy.
It's a
right
big
now.
controversy, but it's resolved. Fencing is a sport. Period.
Oh man, it's a long story there. But in any event, we also want to support these young athletes.
Absolutely.
And it's great for the people. Obviously, it's great for these aspiring athletes and their careers, particularly at this early point in their career. Senator Wagner's been a friend of ours for many, many years.
Good man.
Another Democrat for Ehrlich Steele.
There you go.
And we'd like to support him as well.
Well, guys, you got a lot of work ahead. You also have a lot of people behind you, however.
We feel it.
So keep it going. Get it done. And we'll see you in the ballroom soon, guys.
Great to see you. All right, man.
Governor Bob Ehrlich, Lieutenant Governor Mike Steele in the ballroom. More ballroom boxing coming up in a moment. All right, welcome back to the ballroom. Time for our main event, but we've had a little bit of something for everyone, as we said in the open, talking to the governor of the state. Also, we had a fighter put his hands on a referee after disputing a count, John, and Jet Phipps wins. Robert Anderson goes home very, very unhappy.
Well, he's going to be really unhappy because I suspect the Maryland Athletics Commission is going to suspend him for shoving John Grigowski twice. He really lost his cool in the ring. It was very unfortunate.
All right, the main event, Luis Collazo, Marcus Primera, similar records, similar abilities. This should be a great main event for us tonight.
Well, Collazo's got a lot of fights for a 21-year-old guy, 19 fights. Primeira's been very inactive throughout his career. He's moving up tonight. It's a test for both.
All right, so Collazo and Primera in our main event tonight in the ballroom. It's time for our main event, Marcos Primera going up against Luis Collazo. We've talked about it enough. It's time to talk to Jon Scheinman for his outlook on tonight's main event. John?
Larry, Luis Collazo had a big televised fight against USBA-ranked Edward Cassiani that turned out to be very controversial. He was hit behind the neck, and the referee immediately stopped the fight. He wasn't in any danger. He was very upset because that ruined his undefeated record, and he's won 4 straight fights since then. On the other side, Marcos Primera, in his last fight, beat Martinez Clay, a former 2-time U.S. national amateur champion. These guys are on a collision course. I've seen both of them at the weigh-in. I've talked to both of them in the dressing room. Both are in superb shape. This is a confrontation, and this is another crossroads bout between two guys that are looking to break into the rankings.
All right, we are set for our main event. We hope you are as well. Let's get this one started, as always, with Pat O'Malley. Pat?
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now for more ballroom boxing, and this is the main event. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carl M. Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Quinella, James D. Fielder Jr., Secretary of the Maryland Department of Labor, Licensing, and Regulation, and the commissioners at ringside, Bill McCaffrey and Phil Feaster, along with ballroom boxing promoters Scott and Michael Wagner. The Director of Boxing Operations is Dave Wilkerson. The matchmakers, Chris Middendorf and Josh Hall, present this 8-round bout in the welterweight division. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Counsel is Bruce C. Spiesler. The physician at ringside, Dr. Edmund J. McDonald Jr. and Dr. Douglas Frankel. Your timekeeper is Tommy Canaris. Judging the bout, Kenny Chevalier, Don Risher, and Malik Waleed. Your scorekeeper will be John Gradowski. And the man in charge when the main event begins is Bill Holmes. Now let's meet the Warriors for the main event. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black and white trunks. He weighs 146 3/4 pounds. From Charleston, South Carolina, by way of Venezuela, with a record of 13-2-1, 8 via the KO. Please welcome Marcos the Terminator Primera. To my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the black and gold trunks. He weighed in at 146.5 pounds. From Brooklyn, New York, with a record of 18-1, 8 via the KO. Please welcome Luis the Cobra Collazo.
The heavily tattooed Luis Collazo and Marcos Primera in our main event. Bill Holmes is the ref.
When you receive your instructions in the dressing room, protect yourselves at all times, obey my commands. Touch them up.
All right, John, quickly a look at the matchup for this main event.
Well, Primera, you see the reach advantage and the height advantage. Let's see if he can put it to good use.
Collazo really opened, as John Scheinman said in his piece, fantastically opened 14-0, then got derailed by Edwin Cassiani in Nevada on a TKO in the 3rd round on what he felt was a quick stoppage. Collazo liking to get himself into position to where he has a ranking, and to do that he needs a win tonight in the ballroom.
Many folks at ringside in that fight thought the punch was illegal and that the referee had stopped the fight prematurely, but it was an L on his record.
Now, Jane 80's a pretty good ref, and he's the one who was reffing that fight. So obviously when you lose one like that, you have plenty of reason to complain if you felt you could go on. Now in Primera, you're looking at an opponent for Collazo, and John, you mentioned it twice in the stand-ups that we did. It's a guy who really has not had the easiest track to where he is today. He's been mismanaged at times and comes into this fight in great shape.
Yeah, he was a pretty good puncher at 154. Now coming down to welterweight should help him a lot. He literally looked good at the weigh-in and supposedly has a new dedication to training. We will see.
Well, last 2 times out, he's won, beating Benji Singleton for the 2nd time and Martins Clay by way of 4-round 2KO in North Carolina. So Marcos Primera and Luis Collazo in our main event tonight.
I would like to know where matchmaker Chris Mittendorf finds all these left-handers. He must have like a book.
Really
amazing.
Collazo, you know what, John? He's the type of guy here in the ballroom with a victory here and a couple more wins. He could be in the position where he could knock on the door of a ranking. And I saw Primera before tonight's action got underway, before the first fight tonight, before there were any fans here, and he was pacing back and forth in an empty ballroom, trying to get himself mentally prepared, and that was several hours ago. He's been here a long time tonight, and he hasn't broken a sweat here in round 1.
Collazo very patient, trying to build his attack from the outside.
Fight scheduled for 8 rounds tonight.
And starting with that good left hand.
Well, Primera really doing nothing offensively, John. This is not the type of fight we expected. We expected these fighters to engage in some offensive firepower. Neither man doing much here. You know, the opening round of a fight is usually a feeling out process, but this is going a step too far, isn't it?
Well, I think at this point, a little bit of a feeling out process here in this first round.
First round coming to a close. Collazo and Primera, very, very conservative in their offensive attack in round 1. More ballroom boxing coming up. Welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. It's great to be with you tonight. As always, our partner here in the ballroom is Jon Scheinman. Jon, a very slow round number 1.
I thought it was an interesting round because I felt that Primera established his physical presence in the ring. These guys both weighed in at the same weight. I think they were 146.5. But Primera looks larger. He looks stronger. And I felt that Collazo was respecting that with his lateral movement and caution around the ring. Now I expect Primera to get off and try to exert himself in the second round. I gave the first to Collazo.
Well, you know, he does look bigger, Jon. And there's a reason he looks bigger, because he has fought a lot of fights at 154, not 147.
He's been a junior middleweight, so he has a bigger frame. And like we said, he was a good puncher at 54. Let's see if he's carried it down, which you would think he would, provided he lost the weight properly and did not sap his strength.
You know, as Jon mentions, that Primera looks big, but at the same time, he looks a lot slower than Collazo. And all this windmill action with the left hand. Should be pumping that jab out rather than just pushing it out there, trying to set up the right hand, Jon.
Well, he's got a good jab when he uses it effectively. He did it a couple of times in the first round. But really, the way Collazo's moving, had a hard time finding the target. Collazo putting together his punches.
Oh, good right hand by Primera, catches Collazo backing up. That's a flash knockdown, but a knockdown nonetheless.
Yeah, he had his gloves down, backing up. He got caught. Sloppy defensive mistake.
I don't think Collazo is hurt at all, but he did go down.
He was surprised as anybody.
Look at him. I mean, he's firing out, but he just got caught. Advantage Primera.
Primera trying to open up his offense here in the second round.
Man really doing much offensively, Jon. In fact, Collazo, despite the knockdown, still has time here to make this at least an even round. Luis Collazo in the sequin trunks, red, white, and blue, and Marcos Primera in the black trunks with the white trim. This is round 2. This fight in the ballroom is scheduled for 8 rounds tonight.
Collazo much quicker, getting off, and he has Primera trapped in the corner momentarily. Good body punching downstairs. Putting those shots together is Primera. And
we got
blood.
some blood. There's blood on the face of Primera, and I'm not so sure that's not in a real bad place. That could be a slit eyelid. You can't tell where it's coming from. And I'm telling you right now, Jon, my experience is that's a very nasty cut.
It is, Larry. It looks like it's going in and around the eye.
Let's follow Primera to his corner, if we can. There he is. And it is above the eye on the eyelid. It's right in the corner of the eyelid. That is a very, very bad cut for Marcos Primera.
That could have...
All right? Water. I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Well, they're asking him if he's okay. Of course he's saying he's okay because he wants to continue.
I think it's a little whack, maybe. Just look fair when you hit the glove. Put some ice on it if you can. Give me the end swell.
It's a moment of truth in the corner of Marcos Primera here.
Keep the eye closed. Close it, close it. Close your eye.
Trying to put some end swell on that cut.
That'll stop. You should be all right.
All right, let's check out what happened in round 2, the quick knockdown. There it is. You know, Jon, I think he might have hit him in the chest.
He was never hurt.
Hit him in the chest, but still it is a knockdown. And ruled as such, no doubt about that. He was definitely knocked down.
Collazo finished that round very quickly, so how do you score it?
Boy, I don't know. I think you got to give the edge, possibly on a 10-9 basis. Let's go to our man, Jon Scheinman, see how he had that round scored. Jon, what do you think?
Oh, I knew you guys put me on the spot
There
with
you
this
go.
one. I scored it even, Larry, because you had to give Primera the credit for scoring the knockdown, but clearly Collazo controlled the majority of the round and was really hurting him later on. I scored it even. Just to let you know, since this was not a butt, and if the cut winds up stopping the fight, it'll be a TKO. They will not go to the cards.
That is a nasty cut, but you can't see a lot of blood, so it could be that it's not a real deep cut, but it's in a bad place.
And it looks like they've stopped it, at least temporarily.
And you see some sense of urgency from Marcos Primera, sitting down on his punches and trying to nail Collazo.
Collazo not moving and retreating the way he was in that first round. He had a much better second round.
Well, what of a roller coaster of emotions for Collazo. First he goes down in round 2, gets knocked down, but then he manages to cut the eye of his opponent, and all of a sudden he's got a lot of confidence.
It was a big round for him to get back in the fight. Of course, only the second round, but at times psychologically.
That's what I mentioned earlier, John, this pawing jab by Primera really doing no good whatsoever. Might be slowing him down a little bit. Might be slowing Collazo's offense down a little bit, but he's not scoring punches. He's not even coming close to hitting him.
Well, Primera's got to try to use the reach advantage, but he's got to use it effectively. And he's throwing the jab out there, but he hasn't been doing enough of that afterwards.
This combination of the body by Primera. Good right hand by Primera. I think he needs to do some damage right now while he has Collazo in the corner.
Long-rangey hitter is Primera. I'd like to see him follow up with a left hook after he throws the jab. He hasn't been doing much of that.
Nice uppercut by Primera, scores.
This is a very interesting fight. We're in the third round. Both of these guys, Larry, have come to fight tonight. I mean, that's a cliche, but it's true. You can see the heart and determination in both fighters. Neither wants to give ground at all.
Both men apparently have a good plan, John. End of the round coming up. Very tight round.
I think Primera would like to box him more from the outside, but realize he's going to have to brawl on the inside, too, to score.
Main event's a good one here in the ballroom. More coming up in a moment. Action from earlier in the second round, the knockdown. And that was to the chest, right under the chin of Collazo, but he went down, the only knockdown of the fight so far.
I love that new camera we have, the chandelier cam. Gotta get a copyright on that.
Was that a Rudy Childs production?
Hey, Rudy's the best producer. I tell you, all the guys here, ringside in the truck.
You know, our guys really do not get enough credit. They really don't, because they do a great job, and just as ballroom boxing is growing, couldn't have happened without our great crew, that's for sure.
And they keep getting better every year. I guess the equipment's getting better too. That helps them a
And they're
little.
listening to us right now as we give them all these props. Isn't that great?
Yes.
That's worth something, I guess.
I wish they could make us look and sound better. But they can't do everything.
They're doing the best they can, believe me. Collazo up against the ropes right now. And that's not where he wants to be. I mean, he's right in the wheelhouse of Primera right now.
And Primera is a rangy puncher when he sets down. Well, Primera's getting off first now, which Collazo did not allow him to do in the second round. So the fight is shifting again in terms of the who's trying to take control in this fight. And I think Primera's come on here a little bit in the last two rounds.
Flash of heads there, you could see it clearly, and you saw the grimace by Collazo. There's a sharp little left hand by Collazo. He's got the quicker hands, John. He needs to take advantage of that weapon.
No question. Don't forget Collazo, though, only 22 years old, still learning the pro game.
It's like a mini Jeremy Williams.
It does. Good call.
You see Primera showing his mouthpiece. He's huffing and puffing right now.
Well, when he stops jabbing, he just walks forward. He's getting tattooed. No pun intended.
You talking about Collazo, or are you talking about Primera?
When Primera walks forward and doesn't punch, he's getting tattooed a couple, 3 times by Collazo in more ways than one.
The cut eyelid, which could have been a very, very serious factor for Primera, has been handled nicely by his corner, and it's not a factor right now.
Primera backs up into a shell there and allows Collazo to hit him 3-4 times.
Now, John, you got a guy that's used to fighting at 154 pounds. He's at 147. Does that mean he's in better shape to go 8 rounds? Or right now, Collazo is doing a good job with the hand speed.
Well, he's doing a terrific job. I think coming down in weight has helped him. He should make his punches that much more effective.
And again, the hand speed and the movement by Collazo getting things done in this round. Once again, this fight is scheduled for 8 rounds tonight. as we approach the midway point. Good ring generalship by Collazo as the round comes to an end. More Ballroom Boxing coming up. This is Ballroom Boxing edition 48. Action from the fourth round as Collazo shows the hand speed that we talked about. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno also with us, as always, John Scheinman. Midway through, John, very quickly, before we go to John, a low blow by Primera, and the referee, Bill Holmes, is going to give Collazo a chance to recover. And let's sneak John Scheinman in quickly here. John.
Well, I just wanted to say Bill Holmes has always been known in Maryland as a very activist referee, very willing compared to his other referees in the state to take points away. Early on, he let Primera hit with the low blows. I was kind of surprised, and now he's let him go. Quickly, though, I have Collazo ahead 39-38 on my card. I thought he laid the foundation and the blueprint for winning this fight in the last round.
All right, John, excuse me, but Primera has Collazo up against the ropes, and the gloves touch the ground, and they're going to call this a knockdown. Incredibly, how could that be a knockdown? Oh, come on, that's not a good call. Collazo's going to take it, but Primera really gets sympathy from the crowd here tonight.
Now, Collazo has turned his fight around here. I've got him ahead by a point unofficially on my card.
And I was surprised that was a knockdown. Primera, yes, was off balance, but I'm not so sure. We're going to check the replay after this round is over. Good body shot by Collazo.
And that's what Collazo needs to do more of. He is really piling it on right now. Primera's in some trouble. He is running out of steam. His punches aren't having nearly the effectiveness that they did early in the fight. And you can see the aggressiveness of Luis Collazo. He has just glued his skull to
That's
Primera.
great camera work. Look at that body work by Collazo. And Primera really getting beaten up here in this round by Collazo. Primera trying to turn it around. Good body work by Primera. Another good body shot, Primera, with the left hand.
Boy, since that knockdown, basically, Collazo's been a different fighter in this fight. He's figured out Primera, which is to fight him on the inside and just wear him down. He's not allowing Primera to box from the outside. And Primera, 30 years old, is looking like an old 30 right now.
Collazo getting the warning from Bill Holmes as Primera is really taking a beating in this round. Look at the face of Primera. There's welts under both eyes. He's got the cut on the eyelid, the left eyelid. He doesn't look pretty right now, John.
No, it doesn't. And every once in a while, Luis Collazo sneaks in a body shot that just kind of cripples Primera.
Want to thank those listening on WJFK in Baltimore. We appreciate JFK's support. Now a little blood from Collazo's mouth as the round comes to a close here in the ballroom. A good main event. Looking back, the action from round 5. You got to watch Collazo on the counterpunch here because Primera did go down here. See what caused it to happen. That's a bad call, no doubt about that, John. He fell, he tripped.
Yeah, he was off balance. The punch hit him in the chest.
And that time Primera goes down. There is a cut, and John, you see, you would term that a scratch on the head, and Primera forgot his mouthpiece. That's like Saraceno forgetting his tie on his tuxedo. You're not wearing a tie, are you? What is that called, John, that you're wearing?
Collar pin.
Okay, thank you. Let's check in with John Scheinman quickly for his scorecard. John, it looks like Collazo has wrested away the tempo in this fight.
Larry, under the Maryland state rules, when a fighter scores a knockdown, you have to award him a point. It's not the judge's discretion. Therefore, even though that was a ridiculous knockdown, I think it was on a trip, I had to give a 10-8 on my card to Collazo. Now he's way up. I have him up unofficially 49-46.
Now, hold on a second. You have to give him a 10-8 or a 10-9.
You have to take the point away because he scored the knockdown in the round. So I gave him a 10-8 because I thought he won the round anyway. So it's a 10-8.
Well, he also won it big, though. I mean,
well, that's
he
my
won
point.
it big.
But the judges are not allowed to use their discretion, even though it was a bogus knockdown.
That could be the best commentary we've ever had from Jon Scheinman.
I concur heartily. I've got Collazo ahead 49-46.
What do you say there, Jon Scheinman? And Jon Saraceno, your scorecard, what does it say?
49-46.
49-46 in favor of Collazo.
Yep.
This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds tonight here in the ballroom, and despite the abrasion on the forehead of Collazo, he is in control.
Well, you have to wonder what kind of a scenario where Primera could come back in this fight if he is indeed behind on points. Is he going to be able to stop Collazo with one shot if he needs to pull one out here in the latter rounds? I don't know if he's got that kind of power left, but he might.
Collazo, I'm impressed with Collazo's conditioning, because when he needed to get on his toes, John, you can see him. He's fighting within himself, got great balance, low center of gravity, and while Primera kind of flounders around the ring, Collazo is totally within his own game.
The fountain of youth, age 22.
We're going to get a sip of that.
If I had some, I wouldn't even share it.
I know you would. You'd hog that fountain of youth. You see, Primera wants to throw the uppercut, but it's a half-hearted effort, just like the jab. I really believe that Collazo's boxing ability has taken some of the heart away from Primera. What do you think, John?
Well, I think Collazo forced Primera to fight his fight, and that was on the inside. But when he wants to, Collazo can box from the outside, too. I think what he did was he just wore him down.
More of the same here in this round as Collazo dominates the action with his boxing ability. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Got 6 minutes left in our main event, and Luis Collazo has done a great job, John, in taking the tempo away from Primera. He has dominated the last couple of rounds.
He's put so much pressure on him, especially after that flash knockdown in the second round. And Primera has never really been able to gather himself into a good game plan, and he doesn't really have the punch really to keep Collazo off of him. Collazo just keeps moving forward. He only has a first gear tonight.
I'm telling you what, he has taken the heart from Primera, and Primera right now is in a survival mode. I really don't think he has a plan on how he can win this fight at this point.
I would agree with that. The way he's moving, he's backpedaling like he's ahead in the fight.
What do you think, Scheinman?
I mean, Primera's plan coming into this fight was clearly to work the body, and he had some success early on in the fight. But this circling around the ring, mimicking Collazo's style, is absolutely not going to get him any points at all. And, you know, whether he boxes his way out or not, he can't win the fight this way. He's behind 4 points on my card. We only have 2 rounds to go.
Less than 2 rounds to go.
I think Larry's right. I think he's fighting for survival right now. He wants to finish the fight on his feet.
Primera has not been on his toes until this round, John, and right now he's just trying to stay away from Collazo.
Well, maybe he'll surprise us, though, and Collazo. Let's see. We've got a round and a half to go.
Hey, anything can happen, especially tonight.
We've seen some surprises here at the Ballroom Series.
Oh, nice combination. Wow. Really wasn't a combination. It was a triple left hand by Collazo.
He peppered that puss.
Then he hit him in the face as well.
All right, you don't like my alliteration. I didn't either after I said it.
I'll tell you what, John, I'm very impressed with Collazo. We've seen a lot of fighters come through the ballroom, and Collazo has a certain something. I don't know. I mean, he's got that little rhythm that he's got, you know, between his foot movement and his punching power. Well, he gets a guy to fight at his tempo.
He's a very energetic fighter who knows what he wants to do, and he can fight you more than one way, which makes him really dangerous.
And Primera right now is just holding on and covering up. Make no mistake about it, this is Luis Collazo's party right now.
The other thing that helps Collazo, and we talked about this earlier, was his activity being so great early in his career. Only 21 years old. This is his 20th fight. Try to find guys who are 21 with 20 fights.
Wow. That's incredible. That really is incredible.
So he not only stays busy in the gym, which is important, he transfers it to the ring on fight night.
We'll be right back with more Ballroom Boxing. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Now to the corner.
This whole
Marcos
round,
Primera.
Marcos, not 10 seconds, not 2 minutes and 59 seconds. 3 minutes. Marcos, follow God's plan. For Lord's sake, follow God's plan. Right now, follow the plan. Let's do it right now, Marcos. This is it, Marcos.
Looking back at action from round 7, how Luis Collazo has dominated this fight. Actually, he hasn't dominated the fight. He's dominated the last several rounds. Quickly, Jon Scheinman, what's your scorecard?
69-64, Collazo well ahead. I mean, he's controlled the pace by taking away a stronger puncher's game plan, and that's been the key here. He's not a harder hitter, but he's been a better boxer.
Jon Saraceno amazingly concurs with Scheinman.
69-64, and certainly moving down in weight doesn't appear it's helped Primera a whole lot tonight. He hasn't looked like the stronger guy.
See, Collazo right now feels supremely confident that Primera can't hurt him. And Primera just swinging it air, as you saw right there. He wasn't even in the camera shot that time, John.
Out of control.
You know, boxing can be a violent sport. The stronger man many times wins, but the smarter man certainly can find a way to win. And right now, I believe Collazo isn't the stronger man, but he's the better boxer. He's the smarter boxer.
Well, I think he has done it in all phases tonight. He's outfought him, he's outthought him, and I think he has been the better, stronger puncher in this fight. He's been able to land punches that Primera did not see, and those are the ones that hurt you.
And again, Primera really not doing anything to try to win this fight. Right now, he's on the receiving end, as Collazo is the man behind the wheel.
He is one tough customer. I guess he would be, being from Brooklyn, New York.
No doubt about that. Trying to give it to Marcos Primera. I saw him, as I said earlier in this fight, I saw him earlier tonight, and he was trying to psych himself up.
His corner kind of jumped on him before that last round.
Low blow there. Bill Holmes will warn Primera. I don't think that hurt Collazo. Of course, the boxers wear heavily padded cups and protectors to that area. So,
and for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, they say that you can take a baseball bat and hit a guy there. John, would you mind if I try that with you?
I will pass, Lawrence.
I can hit the long ball. And there is Primera doing some damage on the inside. And where was that over the last 4 rounds?
What a terrific pace Luis Collazo has maintained through 8 rounds. Really impressed with his ability to throw. Primera has not offered up a lot of resistance.
John, this is the kind of fight that boxing fans who really know boxing can get something out of, because Collazo was down in this fight. Primera had his moments, but somehow Collazo found the way to have Primera fight his fight.
Well, he put together a good game plan, and he stuck with it, even though he had some brief adversity.
So this fight is going to go to the distance. Our main event goes the 8-round distance, and when we return, we'll have the decision, and we would anticipate that Luis Collazo is going to go home with the victory, but you never know. Back with more from the Ballroom in a moment. Welcome back to the Ballroom, and as our main event goes the distance, we look back to some action earlier in the fight. Luis Collazo really got it done with hand speed, John. He took the play away from Primera, and we believe that Collazo is going to be a runaway winner here.
Well, he closed the show real fast. Last 5 rounds, we had him winning easily, and he just really outthought and outfought his opponent tonight. Turned out to be an easy victory.
Primera had Collazo down early, but Collazo comes back. And again, as we say, we believe he is the winner. Let's find out officially from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards. Judge Malik Wali scores it 78-74. Judge Don Risher scores it 77-74. And Judge Kenny Chevalier scores it 78-74. And the winner, by unanimous decision, Luis the Cobra Collazo.
No surprise there. Luis Collazo goes home with the unanimous decision win. You know, John, Collazo's a guy you got to look to because he has a lot of boxing ability.
Yeah, he's young, 21 years old. We mentioned how many fights he's had at such an early age. Very bright future.
All right, we're going to wrap it up from the ballroom when we return. We hope you enjoyed tonight's edition, the 48th edition of Ballroom Boxing. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back to the ballroom. Luis Collazo, the winner of our main event. Jon Scheinman is standing by with Luis. John?
Luis, we thought you mastered a very tough Marco Primera in the fight. He was a very heavy body puncher, but we thought your ring generalship carried you through. What do you tell us about the fight?
Well, he does go hard to the body, but he hit me a lot of times low, and it took a lot out of me. But he's a great fighter. I can't take nothing away from him. But my boxing just took on. It just took over the fight.
Now your trunks say havoc on the back, and there was a little havoc in this fight. A lot of strange knockdowns. He got put down in the second round. How flush was that body shot?
Well, he didn't hit. I think to me more it was a slip, but they counted it as a knockdown. So I just left it like that. Just got up and just continued to be a fighter.
Primera was coming off a fight where he beat an undefeated two-time national amateur champion who was on the rise himself. You came in here and it looked like you really dominated him. What does this do for your career? At 18-1, how closer do you think you are to a ranking?
Well, every fight is a learning process. I just keep going back to the drawing board, watch the tape. Every mistake I made, I just learn off that.
Are you happy with the performance?
Well, I know I could have did better. I got to go back, see the tape, see how I look. Just next time, just train harder and just look at my mistakes and just pick off it.
Luis Collazo, clearly a perfectionist because this was a fantastic performance. Great main event in the ballroom. Let's go back to ringside.
All right, thank you much, Jon Scheinman. More ballroom boxing coming up in a moment. Don't go away. Ballroom boxing is brought to you by Toyota, by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. By Michael's 8th Avenue, a host of grand occasions. And by BallroomBoxing.com for the latest in ballroom boxing action and upcoming live events and merchandise and season tickets. Welcome back to the ballroom, our main event. Boy, what an exciting fight. Luis Collazo, a unanimous decision win over Marcos Primera. And in the fight, Collazo, in fact, went down, John.
That was an impressive showing. And for a moment there, it looked like he was in some trouble. I think it was more of a flash knockdown. He was never really hurt. He got back up quickly. And for the rest of the fight, he dominated.
So Luis Collazo goes home with the victory. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Ballroom Boxing. I had fun. Did you have fun?
Can't wait to do the next one, Larry.
We're going to do it again soon. For Jon Scheinman and Jon Saraceno, I'm Larry Michael. Thanks for watching Ballroom Boxing. We'll see you next time.